And now, from Glasgow.
So hello there, welcome to what I'm calling episode 0 of the Lancaster build. Last week was the introduction when I told you the whole purpose of it. This is episode 0, which is going to be the unboxing. Now, I am not buying the Hachette version, so my comparison is going to be courtesy of the absolute wonderful Building with the Boys. His link will be in the description. He will be building the Hachette version. I will be building the Hong Kong models version. We should end up with a model that's exactly the same size, and I hope to do a bit of a field trip, take my model down to see him. We'll do a comparison, but that won't be coming for about 130 weeks. So this is the kit. This is the box. So I can actually show you, hopefully there'll be a lot of people watching the Hachette version that will be interested in this, because I can show you roughly what the size will be like. So obviously this is one of the advantages of buying the kit in one go. I get to sort of kind of lay out. I could do what they call a tape up review. I'm not going to, but what a tape up review is when you take the main structures, the wings, the fuselage, and etc., and you actually masking tape it all together so it kind of holds and you can see what the model looks like. You give the opportunity to see the fit. Now, another person that's kind of semi helping me with this, mainly I'm calling him he doesn't know he's called this, but I'm calling him my technical advisor. It's a chappie called Nigel's Modelling Bench. I have been hitting him up for help and advice, and he has been very, very kind and always responded and always given me a full answer, more often than not more full than I actually need. That's how helpful he is. I can ask him a basic question, he'll give me an advanced answer. In my opinion, that is superb. He has built this as well, so obviously I'm using his videos as research. So I haven't asked permission to use his videos. If I need to use them, I will ask them, and if he gives permission, I will use them. Right, so let me first of all explain to you how I have gone about with the kits. I want to give some honourable mentions to the suppliers that I use. This video is not sponsored in any way. I simply work on the basis that if I use a particular shop or a service and I'm happy with that shop or service, I will call them out. So let's have a look at where I got the model from. So I actually got the model from MJR Hobbies. Now, the reason I like MJR Hobbies, apart from the fact that they are a little bit cheaper, they do discount all of their models versus shop prices. I haven't put them to a thorough test, so I can't tell you if they're the absolute cheapest, but they do cheap kits and I'm happy with that. This is their website. Now, the one criticism I have with them is their website isn't that up to date, which doesn't matter, and I'll come to that later on. So here we have a list of some of the kits that they do, etc, etc. Normal website, nothing extraordinary. However, they also have a Facebook group, and I would urge anyone to join this group, and it's called Model Kits for Less. Now, part of the reason, I don't know much about selling kits, it's not something I've ever done, but what they often do is when they get a pre-order in or they get something coming up, they'll post it onto Facebook and they'll say, we've got kit XYZ coming up on pre-order, who's interested? And then everybody goes, yep, put me down for one, put me down for one, put me down for one. and then that way they know how many they need to order, and then that way they can maximize any discounts. I guess the more they order, the cheaper they get it for. They can pass that saving on to us. So at the time of filming, on the 30th of January, we have a post there about an upcoming Tamiya 1:35 scale German MGT 1799. They have every now and again they take some pictures of what they've got in the shop, and then people can have a look at the pictures and go, yeah, I'm interested in this. It's a good way for them to sell things. I'll see if we've got any pre-orders. There we go, more shop stock. There we go. Look, so we've got Magic Factory 1:35 scale M10 Booker US combat vehicle. No price structure or release date at the moment, but register your interest below. Once we see a UK trade price, we will make a dedicated sales post for members. So now, obviously, with everybody at the moment, that's got 4 comments. That was made 3 hours ago, so it's got 4 comments. So they've got a good idea of how many they're going to be ordering. Posting on this particular page post won't commit you to the sale, but a lot of people will make a commitment because they know it will be cheaper. It's not just the price that they offer an extremely good service. They do only post out twice a week, but you know they're posting out twice a week, and of course if they post on certain days, you tend to receive on certain days. So more often than not, I tell them post it on the Friday, and I'll receive it on either the Saturday or the Monday. So I am very happy with them. Another reason I'm happy with them is they do a savings plan. If you have a habit of buying kits that you really can't afford, you know, maybe the kits you want £100, £200, but you really can't afford to commit more than £10 or £20 a week, or even £1, they do a savings plan. Now I personally save a little bit every week, 10 or £20, I can't remember exactly what I owe, and every week they send me a little message. Let's see if I've got a recent one. There we go. So, hi Penny, backs of £20 landed safely to make £70.76. Eddie is one of the chappies that work there. So I know I've got £70 to spend. So if I see anything come in, I'll go, yeah, I want that, and then obviously I can discuss within the price. Because the Dambusters, this Lancaster, was a lot of money, I did have to pay them extra for it, but not as much as if I didn't have a savings plan. They've also discussed with me about buying kits and then buying them over a series of weeks. They have a certain trust level. So for example, if you bought a kit for £100, they might, for example, and please don't quote me on this, they might want £30 or £40 down now, and then maybe pay £30 a month for 2 months. But that's something that I decline to take up. I really don't like owing money. I'm in one of those jobs where I could lose my job next week due to demand, and then the week after I might get an even better job, or I might be out of work for a while, and I really don't want these informal credit agreements hanging over me. So I pay for the goods, you know, if I want them, or I don't have them. So that's MJR. They've supplied me the Lancaster model. Now, unfortunately, MJR do not sell AK Interactive paints, which are currently my favourite paints. They do sell Mr. Colour. Let me have a look, see if I can find them. Paints. Guns Mr. Hobby, there we go. So they do sell paints. I don't normally, there we go. So their Mr. Hobby are £2.15 a jar. I don't know if that's cheap or not. I don't know how that compares to normal retail price because I've never bought them before. It's something that I will be buying once I get my spray booth sorted out. But for now I use AK Interactives. Because of the nature of my work, I do go to a hotel for 3 weeks at a time, and I do use my AK. I put them in a little carry case and I take them to the hotel, and I can safely use AK interactives in the hotel rather than using Mr. Hobby colours and using smelly thinners with them and getting in trouble with the hotel. So the shop that I use for my paints is Scale Model Shop. It's just a shop that I came across once. I think I came across them via a forum. They may be the best shop out there, they may not, I really don't know, but I used them once or twice. Incredibly happy with their service, so I continue to use them. And I suspect I'm like most people, what I can get from my preferred supplier, I get, you know, maybe I've got a preferred supplier for kits, and then I've got another preferred supplier for paints, and then, you know, I get my paintbrushes from somebody else. I don't do the all-in-one shop things because I find that, you know, there might be shops out there where you get everything you want, but I like to get my paints from Scale Model Shop. The service they offer is fantastic. You know, I might even buy my Mr. Colour paints from Scale Model Shop. So the cost of the paints is £2.75, and I'm showing you this for a reason. I've just shown you a generic paint, but they're all the same price. The only thing is you need to spend £60 to get free postage. If you don't spend £60, they have various, there we go, you can have DPD or Royal Mail. I always use Royal Mail Standard, which is £3.89. I can't highlight that website for some reason, but you can see there it's £3.89. I'm the kind of person that I know in a few days. I try to get things that I need at least a week or so in advance, so I'm never in a rush. So I'm quite happy to wait however long Royal Mail takes, so that's why I'll pay the £3.89. There are other shops that I will use, such as Hachette. Hachette I find are very good for decals. Now MJR will supply me with anything that Hachette sell, but they have to buy it from Hachette at their trade price. So if I want some special decals, they will get them for me from Hachette, and then they'll sell them to me quite often cheaper than Hachette will. But to be honest with you, I'll buy straight from Hachette because I'll just go bang, done. You pay a few extra pennies, but you get them a little bit quicker. So that's my suppliers. So the other thing that I'm going to be showing you, you're going to see this spreadsheet every week, and I'm sorry if you find this boring, but I think this is very, very important because we do need to keep costs. And I didn't show you it last week, but last week we have what this is going to be doing is it's going to tell us what we're going to be paying at each stage. Now 2 weeks before Hachette released the Lancaster, obviously there's no costs involved with Hachette. I've spent £335, and I made a little note there, the model was £335, that was including postage. Now unfortunately MJR was cheaper than recommended retail price. Unfortunately, about a day after I ordered this, I think it was Hachette, they did some major discounts, and you could have got this kit for about I think it was just under £300. I'm not sure if you would have got the Dambusters one for that price, but they did do a massive sale. But £335 is still a discounted price, so I'm quite happy to pay that. So the next column is how much we spent in total with Hachette. As you can see there, we spent nothing. And then the total cost for Hong Kong models is £335. So the difference, and this is always the difference between Hong Kong and Hachette, so the difference is minus £335. So that reflects that if you've gone the Hong Kong models route, you are £335 out of pocket at this stage versus Hachette. Now, I haven't shown you the manual yet, but it does say all of the paint callouts in the manual. There are 15 paints, some of which I already own, some of which I don't own and therefore need to buy. So I've kept it very simple. What's probably going to happen is you might get one pot of paint where you need perhaps 2 or 3 drops to complete the entire model. Yellow, for example, I can't see us using much yellow. Whereas some colours, perhaps the black, we may need more than one bottle of paint because we're going to use so much of it. For example, the black, I don't know how much green and brown we're going to use, but they're obviously significant colours. So I've kept it very, very simple, and I've added 1 bottle of each paint, regardless of what we use, regardless of if I already own it. Some of you guys may not own any paints whatsoever, so you need to go out and buy 15 bottles of paint. But I've just said, right, let's keep it for 15 bottles. I've also chucked in a bottle of primer. We will need a primer. I do own primer already because obviously I'm already doing scale models and things. But for the sake of simplicity, I've thrown in 1 bottle of, let's see if I can find that primer on. I forgot to show you the, there we go. Let me find that for you guys, and I'll show you what I bought. Interactive primer. Why can't I find it? Okay. I may have to show you on my orders then. Oh, it would help if I spent primer properly, wouldn't it? It's probably why I can't find it. Primer. There we go. It's a 100ml bottle. There we go. So this is one of the primers I've bought. It's £7.50. They do come in a range of colours. I'm showing you white. I've actually bought black. But they do various colours. Some of you might like this primer, some of you might think it's terrible. Obviously I cannot price for every individual situation, so I've just kept it simple and I've gone for something fairly generic. So that's what I've priced up. So issue 0, which is this issue that we are doing right now, let's reveal the costs. And you can see that I have bought 15 pots of paint at £2.75. Is that what they cost? I'm pretty sure the price was different. Nope, £2.75 it was. So 15 bottles of paint. I've lost my cursor, look guys. What's going on? Right, 15 bottles of paint at £2.75. 1 bottle of primer for £7.50. And the postage was £3.89, so that's brought a cost up of £52.64. That makes a total of £387.60. So far I'm out of pocket £387.64 versus the Hachette model. Obviously that will change over time. So for example, spoiler alert guys, as it stands right now, once issue 1 comes out, you'll see that Hachette people have spent £1.99. I will have spent nothing, so you can see the difference has gone down. Once we get to let me hide that up again. I do. Once we get to, let's pick an issue at random. These are only projections, but once we get to issue 86, you can see there that £10.99 an issue. Hachette would have spent in total £932 versus my £387.64. Means that I'm at that point I'll be £500 up. That figure won't be accurate until that issue actually comes out, because obviously you don't know what I'm buying between then and now. So I suspect that figure will actually be lower. It just depends what I'm going to be buying. Right, so let's get on with what you've come to see, which is the unboxing. Now I'm going to do my absolute best with this. Disclaimer, it's a big box, so there's going to be parts when I have to zoom out to get everything in, which means you won't get the close detail. When I zoom in, obviously you're only going to see a small bit, but I'll show you what I can. Now also, I'm not an expert on the Lancaster, so as I go through all of the sprues, I can't say this is the toilet and this is the foot, left foot, hujube flip. I can only identify what I can identify. As I build the kit, as I'm watching the Hachette builds, and as I'm seeing them build, and as I build my own, I will learn more. But I will be 100% honest with you guys. If I don't know something, I will not pretend that I do know. So let's go overhead camera. This is the box. Now, to give you a rough idea of the size, let's measure it using my table mat, my cutting board. That's the best I've got for, well, I could measure. So the box is roughly 67-68 centimeters across. It is approximately 337 centimeters deep, wide, and the width, you can't even get the box shut, look, and it is approximately 17 centimeters deep. Now, sometimes it's hard to imagine what a centimeter is. I think I have average hands, so 1, 2, 3, roughly 4 hands across and 2 to 3 hands up. And in relation to, let's find something that we all know what the size of is. I show you a bottle of paint. So this is an average bottle of paint. There is the average bottle of paint sitting on my box. So nice box art, really liking that. Ever so sorry about the shine, guys. That's my lights. It's a very shiny box. It's interesting that I like matte boxes because they don't shine, but gloss boxes do look so much nicer, don't they? So there's the Hong Kong Models logo, so you know it's a Hong Kong Models product. You can see it's 1:32 scale. It's kit number 01E011. Now, this isn't the first Lancaster that Hong Kong Models have done. These are the facts that I do know. What they've actually done is they've reproduced their first model. They've given some extra parts to make it into the Dambusters, so there may be parts left over. And they've done what I think is nice and simple but clever with the instruction manual, which is that they've given you the instruction manual for their original Lancaster Mark I/3, and they've given you another instruction manual which tells you don't ignore that stage, do this instead. So I do have a little bit of work to do. And I've got to go through the manual, the instruction manual. I've got to put a little cross through all the stages to ignore. But this is specifically the Avro Lancaster B Mk III Dambusters. And I will tell you a stupid fact that probably most of you guys already know. And that's the name Avro. I did not know that what it actually means is A-V-Row. R-O-W-E, I presume is somebody's name, Arthur Victor Rowe, and he's combined it to make Avro. Look that one up, guys, in Wikipedia. It's just one of those small interesting things. I've always just gone Avro, and I believe Avro has been amalgamated. You know how over the years companies sell out and they get amalgamated, and I think they became Hawker Siddeley, something like that. Someone will comment and tell me how wrong I am. I don't have a problem with that. Right, so there are 854 parts in total. I'm not sure how they work that out. Is it 854 parts that we need to complete this model, or is it 854 parts that they supply us in total? And obviously we're not going to use all the parts because of options. I don't know, but 854 parts, that's a lot of parts. It has a wingspan of 972 millimeters, or I'm going to call that 97 centimeters. So the wingspan isn't going to fit onto my cutting mat. It's going to have a length of 664 millimeters. I'm going to call that 66 centimeters. That will fit on my desk. That will go to about there. So they've got a little thing there, Avro Lancaster series. Now what I thought was nice, we have exclusive a Dambusters book. I will go through that book with you as I open it up. So side art, we have some CAD images, and it does look very nice. One of the worries that I've got that I had, and this is going off Nigel's modelling bench, is that I'm really worried it's not very good. That the border models, I'm told, is a very, very good kit. I would do the border models. It is about 300, it's about twice the price of this one, but the detail is so much superior. And you know, and I believe I could do the border models version, not a problem. I am ever so sorry, we're joined by a cat. He's seen a box, so he wants in on the action. Yeah, I could do the border models, but would a £600 model completely put you guys off? That's what I'm thinking. So I've gone for the cheaper one. I just hope that it's not awful. I'm told it's okay, but anyway, these are the CAD images, and it does look really, really nice. And it says on the box, high quality scale model plastic model kit intended for modelers aged 14 and up. Requires cement and paint to complete, not included. Features finely recessed panel lines and rivet detail, positionable control surfaces, highly detailed cockpit, bomb bay and engines. Glue and paint should always be used in a well ventilated area. Avoid any open flames. And we've got Hong Kong Models Company Limited, and there's a address there, ironically in Hong Kong, with a telephone number, website and email. And they've got a Facebook page, Made in China. So as you can see there, 14 plus. I always do aim my channel at people aged 14 up. It just makes it simpler for me. So on the side, there's just a copy of the box art, nothing new. And then we have pictures of it there, so you can see that we're going to be building Guy Gibson's aircraft. I believe it comes with the original decals, so we could do anything we wanted really with it, but I am going to do this one because then it will be the same as the Hachette version. So it's the B Mk III Special ED923 or AJG number 617 Squadron, RAF Scampton, UK, May 1943. And I believe the edge, or the other edge, is the same as the other edge. And you'll see on the box there's a little tiny sticker that says £400. That is the retail price. So I've got that for a lot less. Now I'm sorry, Shadow, you are going to have to move because there isn't enough room for you and the Lancaster. So I'm going to take a cut, guys. I'm just going to have to move the cat in a very nice way so that he's not upset with me. So I've got to move my mouse up. I'm having trouble with my tracker ball. I'll see you in a moment, guys. Okay, so I'm back. I did apologise to the cat. I'm about to move him, and he seemed to accept my decision, so he's not too grumpy with me. So this is the box, and as you can see, there's a lot in there. This is not exactly as it came. Because I did have a little quick look when it arrived. I've had a flick through the instruction manual. I've had a look at a few things. mainly just to check things. And I can see that I've not got the Dambusters book back, so I will have to look at that later on. I was so interested in the book I had to open it. Right, so let me show you the decals first. So I can see that, as you can see, it tells you in the instruction manual what to expect. This is sealed. Let's have a look at it. I'll try and seal. I'll probably do many cuts on this, guys, because where I'm going to take things out of bags, I do want to put them back in the bag to try and keep them all as nice as possible for as long as we can. So you don't want to see me doing that on screen. So first of all, we have a little piece. I'll do the photo etch first. So there's some small photo etch pieces. This is quite a thick piece of photo etch, and this looks to me like it's mostly going to deal with seat belts. That looks like a seat belt. They look like buckles to me. I don't know what they are, but we will discover them as we build. But these are just little, there we go. And that's a nice amount of photo etch for someone like me that hasn't done tons. So that I'm really happy with. Now, these are the common decals. These are huge. Look at those. They are very nice and shiny though. So we've got, like I say, these are all the common decals. These are the decals that you'll find on every single Lancaster, warnings and things like that, and the roundels. And then these are the decals that are specific to the original Hong Kong models Lancaster. So you know, this is for, I think this is S for sugar, POS. But yeah, so I think there's 3 different aircraft there. It's a really nice nose art, and such a shame we won't be using it. Like, no enemy plane will fly over the Reich territory, quote by Hermann Goering. And I think that's a really nice Mickey take. You know, put that on a plane that's flying over Reich territory. But yeah, that's really nice, but such a shame we won't be using them, because we will be using this supplementary sheet of decals, which is the one specific to Guy Gibson's aircraft, ED932 AJG. And that looks like these have come as 3 separate letters. So a little bit of skill is going to be required in making sure they line up properly. We'll find a way. And they're cartograph decals, which is why they look so nice. Let me check the original ones. Yep, they're cartograph as well. So we know we've got a good sheet of decals. So I'm going to do a cut while I put all of those back in the bag, and we'll look at the instructions next. Okay, so these are the 2 instruction manuals. Now we'll look at this one first. As you can see, this is the Avro Lancaster B Mk III. Sorry, I did spill a bit of coffee. So this is the original one that came out with the first model, and you can see straight away the amount of detail we're giving us. All of this instruction to produce 1 seat. That is absolutely amazing. So you know, we've got everything going on there, and I'm just going to flick through these. I will show you the instructions as I build. And it clearly, like, I mean, look at this bit there, the framework there, that's going to be absolutely incredible. So yeah, now you see there's an example of a stage that we won't be needing, because we have a bomb bay full of bombs there, but I'll get to that one in a little bit. So there are total option for bomb bay door open and closed. So when there's options, they seem to go, they change the instruction to A, 67A, 67B. So it's not both steps, and because you're looking at the A, you go, oh yes, that's an option. So I'm liking that. Some of the stages we're not doing anything, we're just looking at them. But yeah, and I do love the way that the wings go on. I'll show you that on the fuselage later. So there's our sprue map, and there's our decal images. Obviously it doesn't include the G for George one. and this is the paint schemes for, this is the original ones, remember. So this is OLQ from RAF Witten, and then option B is POS from Waddington, and we've got option C from Binbrook. And there's the common stencils placement. We will need that. There's an awful lot of decals, and there is our colour callouts. So 1, 2 is 15 paints there, and it tells you in AK Interactive, Tamiya or Mr. Hobby. So if I want to do Mr. Hobby, not a problem. I'll just go straight for the colour callouts. Now some of you may know a lot more about this than I do, so you may be going, that shade of tan, I don't think it's realistic, so I'm going to use this particular one instead. I'm going to go for probably mostly the colour callouts that they give us, unless I'm not happy with something. But you've got to remember, I'm a bit more of a basic modeler. So this is our second manual, and this is Avro Lancaster Dambuster. So it's the same model, but as you will see, look, it starts with stage 9, it moves on to stage 13, then 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, then on to 27, 28, then on to 67, and look, you can see there 28 deals with the bouncing bomb, the upkeep bomb. Is it the upkeep it's called? Now if we look at stage 28 on the original manual, there is no stage 28. What's going on? It goes, oh, there's stage 28. So look, there's 27, 28, and stage 27 is being replaced with this and this. So then you end up with specific Dambusters. Now one touch that I really liked on this is it shows you 2 different placements of the rear spotlight. This I didn't know about. It says, note 1, there are many theories in the location of the rear spotlight. Part GG11 is provided for the modeler who firmly believes the correct position is on top of the bomb bay, as opposed to our research. So what they're saying is, we have done our research, this is where we believe the spotlight goes, but some people believe it goes in a different position. If you firmly believe that you are correct, we will give you that option to do so. Isn't that a nice touch? You know, they're not up their own arses and going, we're right, you're wrong. They give you the option to do either. Because I don't know any different, I'll probably go with their research, unless over the course of weeks, remember guys, this is a dynamic project, so just because what I think of something right now isn't necessarily what it's going to be like in the final. If someone with more knowledge and experience than me says something different from me, I won't just firmly believe them. I'll follow up their research. I'll try and follow what they've done. I'll understand why they think what they think. So for example, if Nigel's modelling bench is one of the ones who believes that the correct position is on top of the bomb bay, and he says, I think that because I've seen this photo, then I'll go with that. If he tells me I think it's that because, oh, some guy in the pub once told me, then I'm going to have to do a bit of research myself, because a friend of a friend of a friend isn't solid evidence. So, you know, there we go. So that's the instruction manual. So let me take a little cut, guys. I'll take a cut off after every sprue. I'm actually now going to move the box. So I'm going to have like an in and out pile, so to speak. So give me a moment to set things up, and then we'll have a look at the sprues. So I apologise in advance, guys. There's going to be a lot of zooming in and zooming out. As you can see, I've just zoomed in. There's no point me showing you this. This was actually in the bottom of the box. I thought I'd put it somewhere. Now, one area of concern that I have is I found this. This is a piece that's broken off. Whether that's support or it's an actual piece, I don't know. It looks too sharp to be you know, like the centre of a sprue. I think it is actually a part. I have absolutely no idea what the part is. If I was forced to make a guess, I would say perhaps it's something to do with the propellers, because there's 3 holes. So I'm going to keep that safe. How that's come out of a sealed bag, I do not know. We may discover what that is while we look at the sprues. We may not discover what it is until we actually come to find, you know, we'll come to the build and we'll go look for part number 73 on sprue X, and then I'll look and it's not there, and I'll go, oh, that's the piece. So that bit's being kept safe until the unboxing is done. So this is the book that I got with it. So this is Story of the Dambusters, with letters from the crew of 617 Squadron who flew the dams in 1943. Rad Shutter's auto, written by Stuart G. Reid, letters courtesy of G. Macmillan. Now we've got the introduction, and it tells you all what Rad Shutter's auto is, what it actually means. It also shows you who Stuart G. Reid is. Stuart G. Reid is Squadron Leader, Bachelor of Science, RAF, retired, Pilot, Royal Air Force, Battle of Britain, Memorial Flight, Lancaster PA 474, 1999 to 2010. And there's a picture of him there. So respect to you, sir, because we wouldn't have this research material without you. So it goes on. A lot of this we will know, because obviously as you do research, and the main core, the important information, is going to be included in every bit of research. I haven't read it in full detail, but there's actually a picture of the upkeep weapon. So I think it tells you where that is. So obviously a little visit perhaps to where it's kept, so we can go and visit it, maybe take some pictures. Picture there of the Avro Manchester. There's a picture of the Lancaster. There's a drawing of the Lancaster. There's another picture of the upkeep on the Lancaster. So I guess that was taken G, which is that Guy Gibson's aircraft. We may never know because there's only one letter. There's a nose turret and bomb aimer cupola. Not heard that word. So there's Guy Gibson and his crew boarding their Lancaster. A nice little book, and there's a picture of the Lancaster over the Derwent Dam in 2008. Now this is the one I actually shed a tear on this. This is a story. I'll go through this in detail during the builds. But 1974, a 15-year-old schoolboy decided that he'd focus on the Dambusters mission for his history CSE project. For those of you that have never heard of CSEs, back in the old days, this statement is full of opinion. We had real proper qualifications. We had GCEs and we had CSEs, and then round about the time I hit high school, they decided to change it all to GCSE, and you didn't have to work so hard, and it was you didn't have to memorize. It was all done differently. But this chap, for his history CSE project, he set about tracking down raid veterans, and he wrote them all letters, and he used those letters as part of his history project. And then much later, obviously he was aware of the significance of those letters. He decided to put them up for auction, and I'd like to try and find them and have a look at them. So this is one of the letters that was replied back to him, and it's from Bill Howarth, who's a front gunner in the second wave Willie. And he says, you know, my version of the raid is short. This is what almost made me cry. Was it this one? Oh, first of all, he says, forgive me for taking so long to reply, but I've been laid low for nearly 2 weeks with back trouble. Obviously, he's a little bit older. No, this isn't the one. But he lists a load of survivors that he may be able to contact. And then there's another letter. There we go. The second paragraph. This one is from Frank Tees. The dams raid were just another op. Just another op. Possibly rather an anticlimax after weeks of training, low-level flying, practice bombing and popping off guns at flare floats in the sea. So yeah, you know, undercarriage up, set course, uneventful crossing of North Sea, a small reception of light flat crossing the Dutch coast, and we continued on our way. This is something that it kind of struck me a little bit hard. To us, this is a very famous mission, very significant. You know, it did an awful lot. There's still debates whether it was a waste of resources or not. But look what he's written. The Dams raid was just another op. This isn't the only mission they did in the war, and in perspective for the whole lot. So maybe all of these other raids that he did were just important as the Dambusters raid. You know, it was the combination of them, and that kind of made me feel a little bit emotional. You know, these guys were just going out whenever they were told to go out. But yeah, so this is a letter from G.A. Chambers. He was awarded the Distinguished Flying Medal for the raid. He was wireless operator in 3rd Wave Orange. And he includes some drawings. And then they've... this is telling you what's in the box. And it tells you a little bit the RAF Benevolent Fund. So if you can donate a little bit to the Benevolent Fund, please do. If it's just a few pennies, if we can get a few thousand people maybe donating a few pennies, that all helps. So that's the book, guys. So let's have a look at one of the sprues. Okay, so I'm going to show you the wings and the fuselage first. These are the parts that I can name. You can see from the bags that it's taken a bit of damage in the box, and some of these they've got little bits of, there we go, little bits of tab that have fallen off. That's not a problem for me, yeah, let's come through the box. I don't know if it's old stock. The actual box hasn't been damaged too much. Now what I'm going to do is I will show you one wing, one fuselage, one nose, because I think that they are pretty much going to be the same. But this is one wing. See little bits of broken sprue there. That, I don't know if that's part, we'll have a look at that on the other wing. Yeah, okay, so right, let's pop that one back in the box. I want a nose that's going to work. Right, so we'll pop these two bits back in the box. These are exactly the same as what I'm about to show you. So let's look at what I'm impressed with first, and that's the packaging of this wing. They put this piece of cardboard over, which is going to help protect it, and I can see there's a bit of a split bag there, so that might explain why I'm missing parts. And that's staple, possibly of quartz plastic. There we go. Right, hopefully these are resealable bags, which I think they are. Now, one thing that I've spotted is this piece, like you see there's bits of sprue nub has fallen off it. But some of these, like this, is normal shaped sprue to me. That's not a concern. This piece, I think that's sprue, but it looks specifically shaped. And there's a little piece on the end there, but that piece isn't on the end of the other wing. So I'm hoping that that's sprue. You can see it's obvious that something is going on the end of these wings. Now, is that? Yes. So it's kind of one piece, but it's open at the back, which is, I hope that works. I can see some sprue nubs there. So obviously when they snap off, you do have a risk of damaging the model, but it seems to be okay. So there's been a lot of talk about the dihedral, and you can see it there, look. Once it gets to around about there, the wing starts to bend. So that's what we're looking at. It's not massive. It's certainly not anything in the proportions of something, say for example a Corsair. But that is a little bit of dihedral. So yeah, with the Hachette, it's been mentioned about the dihedral being wrong. my criticism of Hachette. I think people have interpreted the letter. People have contacted them, said that, you know, and Hachette has come back and said they will look into it. There's nothing, they've worded it in such a way that you can assume that they are going to fix it, but I can't see anything that says they're definitely going to fix it. You know, if I said to you I'll look into it, it doesn't mean, but basically what they've said is the model that you've seen is the prototype. We will be looking into things before the final, you know, and they do make the disclaimer that the model you see on the pictures may not, even in the actual magazine where you receive the parts, they say the parts you receive may not be the same as the ones in the magazine. So it is possible that they change the parts, but I don't feel that they've definitely said they will. It would be absolutely major if they don't fix this dihedral, but my jury is out on them. Anyway, look, like I said, guys, this is one wing. Now I really want to zoom in on this because this detail is fantastic. I'm just going to adjust my lights. Hopefully I can get some better light on that. So there's some really nice surface detail on that. Very nice. And I have seen a post on the Hachette Lancaster Facebook group. It tells you where all of the oil points are, so when you want to do oil streaks it tells you exactly which ones to do them on. But this detail is fantastic. There's the part number. That is fantastic to write. If you're going to write the part numbers on the parts, do it in a place where you're not going to see it. You can clearly see that's where the engine's going to go, so that's a sensible place. I've got models where you can see the part number on the finished model, and it's nicely protected with this cardboard. So let's have a look at fuselage. Fuselage. How do you say that, guys? Right, so as I say, I'm only going to show you one because, you know, the opposite side is exactly the same. Now it looks to me like this would have been molded as two pieces of let me zoom out, guys. I want to show you the full bit. So it looks to me like this was molded in the factory as either lots, well, it looks to me like there's two bodies and they've snapped them in half, bagged them, and they put a pressure point on the sprue where it's not actually going to break on the model. So that's a little bit of cleverness. So you've got these tabs. I do like these long tabs because then I know, see there's one there and it's very close to the wing, and if I should miss that, that's going to show on the final model. I should check it, but it shouldn't happen. But obviously I can focus on these sprue knobs one at a time. Again, detail is fantastic. Really nice. Really happy with this. Absolutely fantastic detail. So I did pick the correct wing. So the wing is going to go on something like this, and that's a really nice way to do it. I'm told, is that even the right wing? I can't figure out how that's going to go on. Maybe there's going to be more construction for it, but I thought that was going to go. But yeah, that's roughly what the wing is going to be like. That's not on properly, but so I'm told that when it's finished, you don't need to glue these wings on. So if you want to transport it, you can just put them on and they will hold on really tight, and then when you want to transport it, take them off, cover them, and then off you go. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do a dry fit with this nose. No, I'm not going to be able to because of that, but the nose is going to go on. There's some nice tabs there. So let's have a look at the detail inside the nose. Very nice ribbing. Now I'm told that the detail on this inside the nose isn't fantastic. I'm happy with what we've got, but my end happiness will be dependent on what it's like versus reality. But if you look at some of these panels, some of the detail in there. It looks like they've got everything. Now this actually brings me to my plans versus realities. The plan was that I was going to paint and build the part of the Hong Kong model that Hachette does, and I don't think that's going to be a reality. So obviously, like issue 1, spoiler alert, issue 1 of the Hachette build, we're doing one propeller. So I could paint and do one propeller of this, and that's comparing it side by side. But now issues 2 to 4 and onwards, they're building detail slowly up in the nose. Now I'm not going to be able to do that because A, it's not worth painting one little bit. I want to do sort of a batch. Also, where they've got the way they've constructed these, it's not going to be able to do it. And for example, the wing, I know for a fact Hachette aren't going to give you the wing in one piece. They're going to give you a piece of framework, then you're going to put a piece of skin over the top, piece of framework, piece of skin. There's no way I'm going to be cutting this wing up just so that I can do it the same as the Lancaster. So I think what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to work my way through the manual, one stage at a time. I may skip ahead and do specific bits. So for example, when they give you the undercarriage, I may be able to do the undercarriage on the Lancaster. So there's a slight change of plan there. Right, so I'm going to continue bagging these up, and then we'll have a look at some more sprues. Okay, so the next bag I want to look at is this one. This is sprue number, I can't see it. The reason I've picked on this one is because this bag is actually split, and I couldn't help noticing there's a part there that looks exactly like this one. So we found the home of this stray part. So I may have to rebag some of these sprues. We'll see how they go. Now these are sprue Z, and there are 1, 2, 3 and 4. Look, this is the sprue that's split, and this is where the parts come from. There's actually another one missing, so that is a concern. So yeah, hopefully that part will turn up. Otherwise I'm going to have to contact someone to get replacement parts. So oh, here we are, we got it. So that one's come off the sprue and that's gone loose. So temporarily I'm going to have this little box here, and any small parts that have fallen off I'm going to pop them in there, but I think I'm going to have to rebag all of these. I will advance warning, guys, I'm actually going to be doing a rating system. Now the way that my rating system is going to work is anything that is a positive for Hachette will score a point for Hachette. Anything positive for Hong Kong models will score a point for them, and likewise anything that's negative for Hachette will score a point for Hong Kong, and vice versa. So on the strength of this, that's a point for Hachette, I'm afraid. The reason I'm giving a point for Hachette is because you don't get all of the parts together. Now I haven't tested Hong Kong's customer service. If that was absolutely missing or unusable, then obviously I'll contact them. How good are their replacement process? Revel has got a fairly good replacement service. Airfix second to none. Absolutely no issues with Airfix. Would Hong Kong send me out another part quickly? That's the question. But with Hachette, Hachette's replacement service is pretty good as well. Now, because Hachette only supply you with a few parts every week, if there is a damage to it, it's usually easy to replace. They may have to send me out the entire sprue for the sake of one part, but you know, So I will put that down as a negative. I'm also going to award another point to Hachette because of this. Look, these sprues are all identical. Now this one, can you see that warpage in the sprue? I'm not saying there's a problem with the parts, but there is a warp in that sprue. It should be like that. Now this one is much straighter, but you can see that there's a warp in the opposite direction for the parts. Now I suspect the reason this hasn't warped is because it's actually broken. So the question is, has this broken because it warped so much? Did it warp so much, it put so much pressure there and it broke? But then again, that could be a positive, because it's broken in an area that we don't mind. But look, there we've got two sprues that are the same sprue, but they look different. The parts look unaffected, and maybe I'm being strict here, maybe I'm being overly harsh, but look, the parts, but then I don't think these parts look the same, or maybe, but look, you can see they're the same sprue, but they look different. And then we bring this sprue in. This is a broken sprue. These look different. Again, the parts, actually the sprue with the parts are slightly bowed. Look, this one's bowed downwards, this one's bowed upwards. So it looks like the parts are usable, but I'm looking, look at the bow on that. Can you see that? That goes round corners. So I've got four identical sprues, of which no two sprues are the same. So how that's happened, I really don't know. I don't understand the manufacturing process, but thankfully the parts look unaffected, but we'll see. So that is sprue Z. I do apologise, I'm not doing these in any order, but yeah. And also the packaging, maybe it's good that they've packaged it the way it is, because it's got damaged and the packaging has taken all and most of the damage. But yeah, so I'm probably going to have to keep track on that. That is, in my opinion, that's an own goal for Hong Kong. I'm doing a football type scoring, where you score goals or you concede goals. That is a point for Hachette. There's an opportunity there. But yeah, there's a point for Hachette, I'm afraid. Okay, so the next sprue that I want to pick on is this one. This is actually 3 sprues in one, and the reason I'm picking on this one is that this one of these sprues has come off, and I thought it was quite intriguing because I saw the sprue and it's sprue Q, and that looks like it's dealing mainly with the pilot seat. Definitely some kind of seat by the looks of it, and that looks to be in pretty perfect condition. Now there is a sprue nub there, so I guess it was attached there. But this was called sprue Q, and I am happy with that one, very happy with that one. But then I noticed that this one is sprue O, which is, I was a little bit confused at first because I thought they'd numbered the same one twice, but that's down to my eyes, Q and O. So I've now got the actual instructions so I can check the parts, and I can see as well that this is sprue P. I don't know if these are part of O or if they're part of P, but this all looks to be sprue P, or maybe sprue P finishes there. No, this is P as well. So it looks like this sprue comes all the way down to there. So it's not separate sprues. Right. So I can see it now. So this is sprue O. So there's only one piece on sprue O. But it certainly makes sense to put it onto there. So when the time comes that we need sprue O, I will cut that off. And obviously I'll keep this. So let's have a look at sprue O. That's okay, that's plain, that's obviously the underside. And wow, look at all that detail. That is really nice. Really, obviously there's holes and things there for things to go in, but that is superb. So there's some sink marks there, lots of sink marks. I don't know if they'll be used, if we'll see anything there, but that's something that we've got to deal with. I'm not going to give that a mark or mark it down because we don't know if they will show. Obviously, if they're going to show in the final model, they're all going to have to be sanded down, but they might have been placed there because they won't show. So the rest of this is sprue P, and there is some really nice details on here, really nice. I'm really happy with that. So there's little tiny bit of flash there, nothing I can't deal with, but no parts look damaged. And what I look for in damaged parts is anything that's thin and sticky out, so that's absolutely fine. They're all fine. They're going to be slightly tricky to cut off. There's the instrument panel, which is a bit plain. I will be buying aftermarket parts for these, but yeah, this sprue I'm really happy with. Very nice. So more seat there, so that's going to be interesting. So that is sprue O, P and Q, and I'll get the next sprue out. Okay, so the next 3 sprues that I'm going to pick on, and yes, I am picking on this as much as I can with my little novice abilities. These are 3 sprues that I don't feel we need to take out of the plastic. So this deals with one wheel. Look at the size of that wheel, and I know that the Hachette version is going to be done in flight, and I know it's going to come with a scenario of flying up to the dam, but I'm going to give this a point because this has got weighted wheels. Now I know for a fact, based on the Spitfire build, that the Hachette one is going to come with rubber tyres. Now there is an easy way to weight them, and I will say that on my video when that comes up, because there's no point me telling you now because it might not come up until issue 128. But having these weighted wheels, obviously I'm displaying mine on the ground. Now I can make the wheels look weighted, but it's a lot easier to do on small wheels. The only criticism I've got is that these are smooth tyres. I thought the Lancaster had threads cut into them. If someone can confirm or deny that, that will fact, I think even the book will tell us. And if they should, if there's a picture in here of a Lancaster with threaded tyres, that's a massive own goal. Because I know there was one. Oh, there isn't one. I can't see that. So that's some research that I'm going to do. Does the Lancaster have thread cut into the tyres? So they haven't supplied, because if they supplied us literature with thread cut into the tyres and then they've got smooth tyres, that's a massive own goal. Right, so we can see, there's the bit of the wing. That's why my wing didn't connect to the fuselage without doing anything. So some nice detail wiring and things. This is sprue K. That looks like the engines, one of the wheels, 2 of the spinners for the propellers, various bits of door. I don't know what this is. I can only guess. That looks like exterior. Various lumps and bumps that the Lancaster has. Very impressive. I can see that the wheels are definitely going to go together. One's got like a male connection and one's got a female connection, so you can't get those around the wrong way. Right, so this particular sprue, this is sprue L. That's pretty much the same in that it's got the engines. It is a different sprue, as you could tell from the position of the wheels. But yeah, it's pretty much got the same things, but it looks like it's going to be all opposite. It's got various bits and bobs, and if we flip it over, this is mostly dealing with the tail. I can clearly see that's the tail. ailerons and bits and bobs. Really nice detail on that. So long as I keep my paint and my primer really thin, that detail is going to look fantastic. If I flood my primer on far too fast, I'm going to cover all that detail up, and that's a £400 waste. So it's going to be really extra important I keep my paints nice and thin. Right, so on to the next sprues then. So before I put these away and move on to the next sprues, one little touch that I thought was nice. Obviously they packed these in the boxes so that the inside face is touching each other. And what that means is, look, I can see that this is sprue D, and then if I flip it over, I can see that this is sprue L. If they put them both in the same way, A, they could be scratching, and B, I can't see that label. So it means I can check my sprues without actually removing them from the plastic. So on to the next two sprues. This looks a little bit engine-y to me. This is sprue H, and they all look fine. Again, the detail checks up, and that is sprue J. Now, to me, they look the same. That's sprue H, and that is sprue J. So I can only conclude that either they're separately numbering, there must be left and right. It has to be left and right because of the position of that. But yes, I can see that they look the same parts, but I think they're set for left and right. So that's nice. They put the, I think there is two engines there. Yes, because you got two insides. So that's really, really nice. I'm happy with that. So on to the next sprue. Okay, so the next four sprues are just crying out to come out of that bag and be looked at, but I'm going to resist the temptation. I'm going to keep these in the bag, if you guys don't mind. And this is sprues Y, of which there's 4 of them, and they all look like they're engine parts. Now we've already seen firsthand how good the detail can be, but this is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely amazing detail. So these are both the same, both of these packs. Each pack contains 2 sprues, and there's 2 packs of the sprues. Now the one concern that I have, I obviously, because I'm going to have my aircraft on the ground, if the option exists, I can do engine panels open, but if I fear that we're going to put so much effort into these engines, lovely Merlin engines, and we're going to cover them all up. So what I'm going to be looking at doing, if we do cover these up and these are not seen forever in a day, what I'm going to do is one of the engines I'm not even going to put in, and I'm going to make some kind of trolley, and we'll have that in the background, and so the engine will be sitting on a trolley. Maybe the aircraft has just had an engine replaced, and then they're wheeling away the old one. So I will make sure that we can see at least one of these engines at the end of the build. Right, on to the next sprue. Okay, so this is sprue E, and I can't see E and F. So let me check that there is just one of the sprues. E1F1. Right, so it's my guess this looks like engine framework to me, and I'm going to guess that one frame deals with one side of the frames. 1, 2, 3, 4. No. And the other one deals with, well, this is actually, I said that these were packed nicely, but you've got the top of this frame. This frame is sitting on the top of the next one. But they look very, very similar to me, but again, it might be left and right. But yeah, it looks like the framework. Sorry, bear with me, I've just got an invader again. Sorry, Shadow, mate. I'm really sorry, Shadow. We're dealing with a big, expensive model here. So again, really nice detail, really fine work. Big risk of me damaging it. because it's so thin. Like even at 1 to 32 scale, that's really, really thin. But this is one of the good things about these large scales, is it enables you to bring in more detail. Right, on to the next sprue. Okay, so we have come across our first most definite optional parts, and these are the propeller tips, propeller blades. Now each bag has 4 sprues. Each sprue will make 1 propeller, and I find this interesting because I normally build in 48 or 72 scale, and I don't do an awful lot of World War II or props, I'll be honest with you. But because I do it in 48 scale, normally you get the propeller unit as 1 unit, either 4 or 3. This is so big, you can actually build the whole propeller up. And we've got 2 versions there. At this particular point, I think we're using this one, I'm not sure, but there might be this one. But in the final build, we'll either be using this one or this one. So if you know what version I'm going to be using for definite, and you're after the other ones, shout me up, guys, because if this is going begging, someone might as well put it to good use. So this is sprues AA and BB. Okay, so the next 4 sprues that I'm going to look at, these are the last of the sprues that I'm concerned about. The reason I'm concerned about sprues, if there's more than 1 sprue in a bag, or if the bag is definitely split, and obviously I need to check the parts. This one has got a damaged sprue, but I'm not worried about the sprue. The sprues tend to be designed so that the sprue takes the damage rather than the parts. I can see there that whatever's caused that to split, if that wasn't there, then it would have gone straight through that part. So I'm happy with that. So this looks like possibly more the cockpit, as that looks like some kind of radio panel there. Extremely highly detailed there. Lots and lots of detail, and yeah, I can't really see this sprue too well because they've put them on like that. After saying that I'm really happy when they put the sprues like that, they've now started to do that. So this is sprue X and sprue S. So let me just mark that off while I remember, because I'm ticking all of the sprues off. This is what I do. I don't know if everybody does this, but as I check the sprues, I do tick them off so I can see what sprues we've got. So we've got W to come, N and M to come, etc, etc. So happy with those, so they can go back in the box. And this is sprue upside down. This is sprue W. What a coincidence. And I can't see, there we are, sprue W and sprue T. So let me mark those off, W and T. Now according to this, I'm going to have to open the bag, because according to this, T, U and V are all attached on the same sprue. And yeah, so this is the sprue W, and this looks like the ammo rack. That I do know. So that feeds ammo to one of the guns. And being honest, guys, I don't know what most of these parts are, but because the ammo rack is there, it's got to be interior, isn't it? That part looks like it's got damaged on the sprue, so that's a concern for me. So I've already given a mark to Hachette about the parts, but the way that they give you a few parts and they package them really nicely and individually, they're not going to get damaged in this way. So that's an advantage for Hachette, but as I say, I've already given them a point for that, so I'm not going to give them another one. But that's on the whole, that's a really nice sprue. So this sprue T, it's sprue T is on its own. It is definitely on its own. Sprue U and V is on the magazine. It's there and there. But this is nice. That looks like another seat. And that isn't the upkeep. No, it can't. No, because that's in the original instructions. So I don't know what that is. That looks perhaps like a walkway. I don't know how big it is. That's definitely a gun. That is most definitely a gun. That I do know. And that maybe looks like some kind of. I think this is all to do with one of the gunner positions. I think. Don't quote me on that. Right, let's have a look at the next sprue. Okay, so for this one I'm going to have to zoom out because it's a large sprue. This is also one of those multi-sprues. I can see that it's sprue M, which I'm going to mark off. There we go. Sprue M and N is combined. So what I might do when I start the build, I might just clip that sprue off and have it as a separate sprue, but it's come as one. So this looks like it's to do with the bomb bay, and I don't know what this is. That's another one of those pieces. We've seen that on the other side, so that must be a wall or an extension of the bomb. That's what it is. That's the bomb bay, isn't it? It has to be. So all of these, it looks like I might not even use this part then, but these push pin marks, they're all going to be hidden up by bombs, so that looks like it's okay. There's a bit of damage to the packaging there because this part there, don't know what that is. That must be to do with part of the wall. There's a small wheel there, so is that the tail wheel? I'm sorry to be saying a lot of think, but like I said, I won't tell you something is definite if I don't know, and part of this is a learning experience as well. So that is sprue M and N. That's a sprue that I'm happy with. Okay, so we're down to the last few sprues. Now I thought I'd got through all the double sprues. This is sprue U and sprue A. So bear with me while I mark this off. Sprue U is, I said sprue, not screw. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, sprue V, sorry, not A. I read it upside down, so V. So this is the sprues that I thought were with sprue T. So we've got, is this top gunner, bottom gunner? I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not even going to speculate. And this is a sprue of tiny, tiny pieces. Check that out, guys. Piece number 2 there. Look at it compared to my little fingernail. That is tiny. Now for that to be that small on a 32 scale, think what it's like on a 72. Obviously wouldn't put the detail in. Right, so this one, this is sprue R. So again, I'm going to mark these off while I'm on a roll, and that looks to me like it's undercarriage. So I've got to be careful with those. Obviously the big question that I've got is, will this undercarriage hold the weight of the Lancaster? Will I need to be getting aftermarket parts? I know it does exist, metal undercarriage. I don't want to buy metal undercarriage if I don't have to, but I will if I have to. But yeah, that's the undercarriage, and there's so much to it. Look, that's two undercarriage legs by the looks of it. Although it looks like there's 4. Depends how they're put together. Anyway, that's those. Let me pop those in the box. And I believe this is going to be the last sprue for this main build. And according to my tickings, we haven't had G, we haven't had I. And I think that's all we're missing. So this should in theory be G and I. So this is sprue G and this is sprue I. So perfect. So is that the tail plane or is that the wing tip? It could be the wing tip. These look like they're all to do with the wing, because that looks like a bit of engine. That looks like the engine's going to fit in there. There's a small part there, and this looks pretty much like it deals with the same. So yeah, they all look fine. Again, the detail looks sublime. It's wonderful. Absolutely happy with that. So we have G, we have I. Oh, we've already done parts C1, C2, B1, B2, A1 and A2, because they're the wings and they're the fuselage. So from this booklet, there is, I haven't done the clear parts yet, and I've done that on purpose. I'll come to that. There is one missing sprue, which is sprue EE5 and FF2. And they are bombs, so that looks like the cookie, and they're regular bombs. We don't want them, do we? So obviously they've missed it out because this is a Dambusters version. And so we will finish with the clear parts. Let me make sure I've got this, and this is always the one that I'm worried about. So this is clear part CC, and I'm going to have to remove this. And I am absolutely worried because of scratches or now I'm not one of these people that obsesses over a totally shiny cockpit. I do like my cockpit, my glass to be clean, but I do wonder about, look at that, that's hanging on by a thread, but they've got a piece of plastic. Oh, that's, do you know what, that's really nice. Really happy with that. So they put a piece of tape over the top of the clear pieces. So not all of the clear pieces, but the tops. So there's not going to be any scratches there. This one has fallen off, and it's only hanging on by a little tiny bit of the sprue nub there. No, it's got bent, but it's the piece of clear plastic that's holding it on. Now this fell out as I took it out of the box, and I cannot see where it came from. Oh, there we go, it's piece number 18. Okay, you can't see it because it's clear, but yeah, there's this bit that's all loose. But look, this tape, do you know what, I'm going to give it a point. That deserves a point just for that tape. Clear tape over clear parts. Sorry, but that, I just think that's so simple. One of the biggest issues I've seen with model kits is scratch clear parts. And look, how hard is it to pop a little bit of tape over there? That is actually sticky tape. It's not like sellotape, but it's got stickiness to it. So I'm really happy. Now, I've been told that this is the wrong cockpit for the Dambusters. I cannot clarify that. I'm afraid I don't know that. But one thing that I will be interested in is seeing the cockpit on the Hachette version, sorry, the glass, the canopy, versus this one. Now, as I pop this back in the box, obviously what we've still got left in the box is the specific, not Pacific, specific parts for the Dambusters. So I will show you the plastic pieces. So to do that, we are going to have to switch to our supplementary manual. Now, this is where it gets interesting. There is the sprue, which is called GG, and this is the sprue in question. And most of these pieces are to do with the bouncing bomb. We can see there the framework for it, and this looks like a special cover to go onto the actual Lancaster to accommodate it. One of the things that I've been interested in, and I really don't know if this can be done, I'd like to make that bomb spin. Now I can see there the mechanism. That's not an actual mechanism, but on the actual Lancaster there's a pulley system and it's spinning that bomb. So I wonder if, say for example, we could have cut that, popped a little motor attached to one and put a piece of rubber or something. I don't really know, but I'm kind of resigned myself to the fact that that bomb will most likely not spin. If I can get it to spin, that will be a bonus, but we'll see. Sorry, bear with me one sec, guys. My apologies for that. I got all excited. It was an Amazon guy at the door, despite the fact I hadn't ordered anything. But we have 3 houses, all with the same number, very, very close to each other. And we often get each other's mail, and it is for the guy over the road. Nice guy, 2 lovely dogs, really nice guy. Right, where were we? So, yes, so I'm resigning myself to the fact that this isn't going to spin. But I am having this on the ground anyway, so it doesn't need to spin. But it would be nice if I can work out some kind of system to do it. So this is the Dambusters specific sprue, and that should in theory be all of the sprues. However, I found this one. So this is sprue DD, and I can't find it in any of the instructions. So I'll go back through. So we've got, oh, it is, I do apologise guys, I thought sprue CC was this, all of this, but no, that's sprue CC, so I do apologise, that's this sprue. So I'm not actually going to open this. So Shadow's decided to make a reappearance, so I think I'm going to give in because I've got just a 1 sprue left to do. So we've got some windows for the body work there, quite a few windows. One of my windows has fallen off, it's kind of making a run for it, but that looks like we've got away with that. Yeah, you're making your mark on it, are you? So, and I don't know what that is for, but that looks nice, and I can see this tape over the top. I'm really loving that. It's such a simple, why can't everyone do it idea. A little bit of tape over the clear part saved them from being scratched. Lovely. Right. So that is the unboxing of the Hong Kong models version. I have a cat that's just desperate for love right now. It is that time of day where he loves a little bit of fuss. And I have pushed him off the table.